Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I am actually going to screen share because I have a little presentation for part of the beginning of mine. And I just wanted to just talk about this because I feel like just everything going on in the world and even just 2020 itself is just, people feel exhausted or happy, overwhelmed, up and down. And so for me, it's really important to ground myself and to help ground others when I can in what I call heart work. Heart work, remembering your fire through finding your fire through remembering our purpose. And I broke it apart like that, remembering, because I think there's something in the act of going back to help make sense of things or to give meaning to things that have happened to you. In that remembering, I think it's an act of putting oneself back together. So I'm actually going to do some remembering right now through some storytelling with you all. So normally, anytime I do a talk, and if we were all there in person, I would have you all, if there was time, to go around and answer these questions as well. Who are you? What's your community affiliation? Who are your people? What do you do and what motivates you? So I'm actually going to answer those questions for you all because it relates to just some of the things I'm trying to get us grounded in. So, who am I has very much to do with where I come from. This is a picture of my great maternal grandmother with some of her sisters and friends. And I always start off with sharing this picture because I think it's important to remember and acknowledge our ancestors wherever we are, whatever our background. We all have loved ones who've passed on to the other side, or whatever your beliefs are, looking out for us and wanting good for us and wishing good for us. And I think it's important to remember and acknowledge that because I know whenever I have a hard time, like that's who I also turn to, is thinking, what would my ancestors say? They're with me right now. What would the ancestor version of myself say? And also that ties into my current family. So, and for me, I think also when I get overwhelmed too with my life, it helps to just remember the journey, the bigger picture. Up in the top left, that's my maternal grandmother. And she just taught me so much, like whether it was knitting or sewing or baking or trying to teach me some of her language. She learned so much, like how to irrigate, how to help brand cattle with my grandpa below her. That's them when they're younger in black and white. And she always like told me a memory of when she was in boarding school, like she remembers winning this talent show contest singing. And so I always think like, I'm grateful for her for gifting me my voice. And then up in the middle is my mom. She speaks of words being like seeds. And I think that relates to the gardening aspect my grandma taught us as well. Like whenever you plant a seed, you give life to it. And if we think of our words as seeds, think about what are we planting? We want to plant good intentions, good thoughts. So my mom's really against speaking ill of other people or of yourself because you don't want to plant those seeds and give life to it. And then next to her in the top right is my sister, my older sister. She's just teaches me how to be a good human being. She's so kind and nice and sweet. She just had her first baby. She's defending her dissertation soon. She'll be in the first in our family to get a PhD. And then below her, my paternal grandparents and my father as a baby. My grandpa came to New Mexico from leaving Louisiana when he turned 18, and my grandma, who's Dene, otherwise known as Navajo in Southern Ute, I've only known her when I was younger. She had multiple sclerosis and she wasn't able to walk or talk when I met her. And so she always reminds me of, again, just that gift of voice and not taking voice for granted, like making sure you speak and speak strongly. And you heard a little bit in my intro about what I do. Like I work at CU Boulder, run an Upward Bound program serving Native youth. And in doing that work, I realized that I want to help other people like use the voice that they have and find ways to tell their stories and that empowerment. I also write poetry. I do music. Hopefully, you can hear me do a song here at the end. And it's just been such a blessing to like share these stories, these narratives, again, to help heal myself and hopefully help offer those words to other people. Because now is a time where we, as a people and as a country, as a world, as Mother Earth, need healing and that medicine in whatever way we can get it. And then the last part is what motivates me. A few years ago, I was visiting a middle school, in Minnesota. And a lot of my content, I would say, is for older students, maybe high school and higher, because I write about grief. I write about how to turn your pain into power and processing trauma or trauma stewardship, And I asked these kids, well, what should I write? Because I want to write something for you. And this one kid gave me this note at lunch. It said, can you write about someone going through a tough time and that things will get better towards the end? That would mean a lot. And I share that because that helps me to think about, I was talking about ancestors earlier, like thinking about the past, thinking about those who came before us, but also how their actions affected me and the things I'm grateful for, the things I do, and what will I do and pass on to those next generations that are coming. So I keep this with me just as a reminder to help ground me in that. Like, it's not about me. And I know we're all here because we all believe that. It's not about the individual, it's about how we can help other people get grounded in their purpose and find healing and live a life where it's safe to be who they are. As Kevin was saying, like to speak in the language of your heart, to live in the language of your heart. And so that brings me to this concept of fire. Fire is used for so many different things, whether it's bringing people together for a cookout. Some people use it in ceremonies. Some people cook food. It keeps people warm. Fire has so many different purposes and utilities. And I think that's what our passion is inside of us as well. Like we each have a fire, like our heart work, our heart's work. And what is it that keeps your fire going? The fire inside of you, where did it come from? Did it come from your people or your community? Did it come from an experience? Did it come from something that you need to help bring healing to? Like what keeps your fire going? So with that in mind, I want to share a story. And it's about the Stone Mother from the Pyramid Lake Paiute Reservation in Nixon, Nevada. This is my mother's homeland, and I've spent my summers there and go back to visit as often as I can. But one like Cliff's Note version of the story that an elder had told me was that originally a man and a woman had 4 kids. And when they were little, they got along. But as they got older, they started arguing and fighting. And the parents said, if you keep arguing and fighting, I'm going to separate you. And sure enough, as time passed and they got older, they kept arguing as we humans do. They kept fighting. And so they said, all right, I'm going to send 2 of you to the north and 2 of you to the south. When you get to where you're going, make sure you light your fire so we know you're okay. And days passed, and they see a fire lit in one direction, but they never see a fire lit in the other direction. So the mother didn't know if her kids were okay, so she cried so many tears, she created this saltwater lake in the middle of the desert. And that story just has so many different lessons for me, just about, this tool, this metaphor for healing, like this literal lake of tears that many of us learn to swim in. So you learn how to navigate through your pain. You learn how to swim. You learn how to swim through your sorrows. And when you get tired and you can't keep moving, you learn how to tread water. Or when you feel like you want to give up and you just need some rest, like you can float on your back and just be carried by that faith and by that trust. But also the other side of it is, if you think about it, they wanted their kids to light their fire so they knew that they were okay. And I think our ancestors, our beloveds who have passed on, want us to light our fire in this earth, in these bodies, in these times, so that they know we're okay. And so finding your fire and lighting it can look like so many different things. Maybe it is philanthropy. Maybe it is social justice work. Maybe it is being an artist. Maybe it's being an organizer. And so I want to just encourage you all to remember what your fire is, where it came from, and to light your fire during your time on this earth. And the last thing I want to share is just a prompt. It can be a self-care prompt too if you need it in the future, but usually I ask people to write 3 sentences for each of these emotions. I know joy, I know pain, I know love. Because for me, this is a metaphor for life. We will know joy, we will know pain, unfortunately, and hopefully we will all know love at some point. And so what you do is you finish the sentences, but helping them come alive using the senses, like I know joy tastes like coffee that my mom makes when I'm visiting, or I know pain hits you like a fist in the stomach when you lose your breath because something happened beyond your control, or I know love in my nephew's eyes as they light up when he smiles when I'm video chatting him, things like that. So that's something I want to just give you all, because sometimes when I do things like this, I like to give tools as well that I think are helpful. And I share all that because I think now I know that I'm looking for this constantly, and I think others might too, is just to think about now we're in this time, we're going to enter these next 4 years, we're going to do what we can to helping build a better world. But when you walk in this world, just remember to ground yourself and center yourself in who are you? Who are your people? What do you do? And what motivates you? So now I'm going to just share a song with you all on my guitar. Yeah, what motivates you? All right, we'll see how it sounds because I'm also trying to be really close to my router, so I'm in my room as well. But I wrote this song. It's called Pray For You. Hopefully you guys can still hear me okay. I'll pull my chat up. Because working with youth and just working with people, like being in the business of people, it's not a business, so that's why it's like already like flawed from the start. But being in this kind of heart work coming from your passion, heart work lights your fire. Sometimes you can't always help the people you want to help. Like you can't always do the things you want to do. Like we're always working against like these different systems. So this song is called Pray For You because you can always pray, you can always think good intentions for people, and it does help. He told me that he just wasn't enough. The world told him as a man to be tough. You got tears, son, you just bottle them up. Is this love? Is this love? She kept telling me how everything went wrong. She kept singing these sad, sad songs. Asked the sky to please open up. What's love? What's love? All I could do is pray. I pray, I pray, I pray for you. All I could do is pray. I'll pray for you. I'll pray for you. I'll pray for you. I'll pray for you. When you're home and your heart are in a lot of pain, you just can't see a way to survive another day. Wake up begging Creator to take you away. Not today, it's okay. I pray for you and I don't know what else to do. Put tobacco down and I send my prayers up. Creator, please send light to the ones I love. There is love. This is love. All I could do is pray. I pray, I pray, I pray for you. All I could do is pray. I'll pray for you. I'll pray for
Thank you all so much.